Namaste, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. It's Dr. Danny, physician astrologer. We made it, you guys. This is it. This is the moment we have been counting down to. This is Venus's star point, where she is reborn in her cycle from the evening star to the morning star. It's so beautiful. It's so intense. It's the closest Venus gets to Earth in her celestial cycle. So I am so excited to be here. I can feel the energy. We have 19 already just with the intro. And I am really excited to give you this presentation today. Because the Mercury presentation on Friday went so well, I'm doing a very similar format with Venus. There's an introduction, kind of getting the flavor of Venus. What is she like? What are we actually looking at when we see Venus in our chart? We're going to talk about Venus retrograde in your natal chart. Then we're going to get into the timeline, where Venus is, where she's going, where she's been. We're going to decode a little bit. We're going to look in particular at the day March 22nd, because that's when Venus reaches her inferior conjunction with the sun. This is the Venus star point. So I am just so excited to be here. Just because this is the peak of her cycle doesn't mean it's the end. Okay. You want to think of these longer personal planet cycles very similarly to the way that you deal with moon energy. So when we're at a superior conjunction, we've got a new cycle. And when we're at the retrograde peak, we're at the full manifestation of that, so to speak. So it's the same type of energy. You're building the first half of the cycle, then you're harvesting and dispersing the second half of the cycle. So we'll get into all of that. Then we'll look at some just cool synchronicities. It's so amazing how connected all of this astrology is to the numerology. And then as a special treat, at the end of this, we are going to look at the Venus magic square. I've been saving it for this day because we've had the moon magic square, we've had the Mercury magic square, and now we'll have the Venus magic square. And we're going to create a sigil. And the one that we created with this one is really very awesome. So I'm excited to share all of that with you. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. I'm so excited to see all of you. Let's see, who do we have? How's everybody doing? Let's see, we've got Beth Hansen. Hail and welcome to all the star mystics. Indeed, beautiful souls, magicians, star seeds, walk-ins, and wanderers. That's what we all are. We're wounded healers, and we are just hanging out trying to figure out what the world's doing. All right. Heart Light Therapies is here. Ultimus is here. It's giving me a 5x5 on my sound, which is amazing during a Mercury retrograde. So I'm excited about that. And of course, Lori from Washington is here. Then we've got Christine Yan. Grand day to you, my dear. Sage Page says hello, and Diana Allen is here. Awesome. So good to see all of you. I'm so excited. Cool. I've had a pretty good weekend. I worked Sunday and yesterday, and I got this presentation yesterday during my downtime. Yeah, it's been an interesting 24 hours for me. I will tell you that. I took a nap around 7:30, woke up at 9, went back to sleep around 11, got up at 2, went back to sleep around 5, and then got up at 7:30, and I took another little nap after I got my haircut today. So then I talked to a couple of my Stellar Foundation students, and now I'm here. So busy, busy as always. Let's see, a couple of announcements. The Chiron class, the Wounded Healer Teacher. We are going to dive deep into Chiron energy on Monday, April 7th at 6 p.m. If you want to join that class, you guys, it's pinned in the side chat, and it is also in the description below. If you need a reading, those links are also below. And then the really exciting part is, if you all are interested in joining Stellar Foundations, you don't have to, but we are going to start our second group in the middle of May, and I'll be starting to send you guys emails about that next week. Yeah, so let's see what's coming next week after we get through this. Hang on one second. Man, the pollen around here is terrible. Next week, we'll be out of town, so I am providing for you guys a solar eclipse video. I'm going to record it before I leave, and I'll release it probably midweek. And then going along with that video will be a separate meditation that I use binaural beats on, and it's based on the idea of the movie Inception with Tom Cruise. We are going to go to one level of meditation, then I'm going to take you even deeper, and then I'm going to take you even deeper. And I'm going to use the technology of binaural beats. So we'll start around 8 hertz, we'll get to 6 hertz, and then we'll get all the way to 4 hertz, which is like high delta, low theta. Man, sorry, y'all. So that'll be the plan. And then I will make shorts for the Eclipse video as well. So that should get you guys through next week while I'm gone. On Sunday, if you guys know Athen Commenti with Mastering the Zodiac, he was on our channel not too long ago. I believe I am scheduled to pop into his live stream on Sunday afternoon. So catch us over there. We're going to have a nice chat with his community. Come on over there and say hi to those people. They all love constellational astrology just like we do. All right. So let's see what else is going on with you guys. Desiree's here. Hey, Des. Sprout Queen's here. Aries Carrie 77 is here. All right. Man, this is going to be so good. I hope you guys enjoy this. We're talking about Venus. We've been talking about Venus because Venus is in a very special, hopefully that wasn't gravelly for you guys, has been in a very special part of her 584-day cycle. She started this cycle on June 4th of 2024, so last June, and has slowly moved her way towards us and is now at the peak of her cycle. This is the retrograde. And on the 22nd, it's going to be the peak of the retrograde, and then she's going to start moving away from us. And we'll end that cycle and start a new one in January of 2026. So let's talk about Venus a little bit. Since we're doing this presentation very similarly to the way that we did Mercury on Friday, what I thought I'd do for you guys is give you sort of the way that I read Mercury and Venus and compare it for people when I'm doing an actual reading. So what you're about to get is a bit of a snippet of how I would read your chart. Now, obviously, I would need to know where your Venus is, where your Mercury is, and what constellation and house they're in. But basically, I look at it like this. I say, okay, I have this apple, and I actually have one this time. I'm so excited. And I'm going to hand it to Mercury. Mercury's going to take this apple, and he's going to say, this is a Fuji apple. It was grown in the following orchard in this country, and its DNA structure is this. It weighs 4 ounces. It's going to cost you 50 cents. What do you want in exchange for it? That's how Mercury's going to approach this piece of fruit. But when we're talking about Venus, okay, and I got Venus on my arm, you guys. Venus and Saturn together in Gemini next to Star Sirius. That's why I wear this shirt, so you guys could see my tattoo. So there it is. Venus is going to take this apple and go, oh my gosh, what a beautiful piece of fruit. She's going to smell it. She's going to feel it in her hand. She's going to look at the color and like think of all the beautiful things that go with the color. She's going to take a bite of it, feel the crunch, the juices running down her throat. I mean, this is falling in love with a piece of creation. And that's literally what Venus does. And so that's the difference between these two planets, but they're so important in how we move through the world and how we interact with people. So, all right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely click on that free chart link that Lori put in the chat. You can put your date of your birth, time of your birth, location of your birth, and it will generate a chart for you. You just look for the Venus symbol in your chart, and then you'll know the constellation and the house. So what do you say we get started in this? I have a few things I want to show you first before we dive into the presentation. The first thing, of course, as always, is I want to give credit to where I get my decode resources from. And also, for those of you that did not know that, the free chart on my website is generated by the code from Mastering the Zodiac. So Athen has generously given me that so that I can provide a resource for my community as well. So if you come on over on Sunday, give Athen a thumbs up, tell him, thank you so much, and join us over there. So what I'll do now is share the screen. And I am going to, I'm going to use that screen. And then we're going to go to, this is the cipher website that you want to use if you guys are into decoding, if you want to try out numerology, if you want to play around with some of these ciphers. Jordan of Waters Above Crypto and Logan with Decode Your Reality created this website for free. So props to them. They're amazing. There's hundreds of different ciphers in here, and we are going to be using the Phi cipher and the Chaldean cipher. So the Chaldean cipher is one of the oldest ciphers, and the numbers are based on the sound that the letters make and their resonant frequencies. It is also based on how they are drawn within a 12-based dodecahedron structure. It's pretty interesting. The Phi cipher is based on the digits of the golden ratio, okay, which you get via the Fibonacci sequence once you pass digit number 13, okay, which is amazing. It's super interesting. So here you have 1.61803398874, okay? So that's what we'll be using throughout the little decodes as we go through the presentation. If you want the resources to check the card for the date that you're looking at, if you want to have the number for the card, if you want to have the number for the tarot, if you want the medicine deck, all of that is in here. You just click that download button. And that's Logan's website. He also does pretty amazing readings. So I recommend getting one of those if you can. Number Empire is awesome. You type in any number in here and it will give you all kinds of information. I like the number 41 because it's the 13th prime number. And of course, we're doing 13 sign astrology. So I love that synchronicity, but it'll tell you if it's a prime, it'll tell you which prime it is, and it'll tell you that it is also a prime of something else. So the 41st prime is 179 in this example. So that is a really cool resource. And then Sabidium.com. You can use the pi and the phi cipher here, or the string of digits. So, for example, let's see, 81 is interesting. If we put it into pi, let's put it into phi. It comes back as the 33rd decimal digit of the phi sequence. So these are the digits in phi right here. So we work with that a lot. And then finally, of course, this periodic table, which is amazing. They have all these beautiful graphics. Look, they've got the sun right there for helium. And it's a nice way to swing around with numbers. If you have like 111, for example, then you can also use the number 280. So lots of cool ways to work with this. And I'll be showing you some of that. All right. So that's that. That's all the props. Fellow travelers here, hello, hello. It's always exciting to have you here too. Let's watch this. I know some of you don't subscribe to the solar system model, and that's okay. I'm going to show you different ways to look at the same energy. For me, this resonates. My hologram, my simulation, my simulacrum is part of a grander cosmos. It's not just Earth. It's Earth and her planets. It's the star that we swing around. It's the stars in our local cluster. It's the galaxy that we're in. Because, when you think that big, when you think out to the level of the cosmos, you're so much more just like in tune with these cycles that we're watching. And so if you all will bear with me and just watch this beautiful movement through the heavens, the day we're starting at is the beginning of Venus's cycle. And it's hard to keep up with because they move Earth, but just remember you're standing on this little blue dot right here. And I'm going to try to keep Earth in the middle here as we move through it. But I want you to watch how these planets move. You can also watch Mercury too, just as an exercise since we did this last Friday. So let's go. All right. Looks a little jittery when I hold Earth there, but you can see how Mercury moves way faster than Venus. Now we're into August of last year. There was a retrograde with Mercury there. Now we're into September. November. Here comes another retrograde. You remember that? Right before Christmas. There's that with Mercury. And now here comes Venus. This is that right there, that spot back on the 10th was the maximum eastern elongation of Venus. Remember, we did that with Mercury. We did that exercise. So she's moving through her cycle. February. March, and now we are here. This is the day we're looking at. See this pile up? This is amazing. And then a week later, this is your new moon. This is your solar eclipse. You have all of these bodies, including moon, which is not in this representation. It kind of swings around the earth like this. Moon will be here. So sun's filtering through Mercury, Venus, moon, down to us on the planet. Very intense energy, you guys. Very intense. But the video next week for the solar eclipse will hopefully elucidate some of this, how we are to deal with this. And particularly today with the energy of Venus, your creative energy, your relationship energy. So as Mercury and Venus continue around their cycles, you can see Mercury's going to come around again. Superior conjunction for Mercury. Venus's maximum western elongation. Sorry, it's jerky, but I want to just keep Earth in perspective. And then, of course, as we get to the end of this year, Venus will swing back around. And in January of 2026 will be a brand new cycle for Sister Venus. Okay, so a much longer cycle, but a very powerful cycle as well. Let's look at that in the sky. So that's one view. Here's another view. It doesn't matter what shape the Earth is when you're looking at this view here, because we're standing on the planet. You could be in a concave space, you can be in a flat space, but this is what it looks like. And so let's watch this. There's Venus here, right here. Here she comes around the front of the sun. Oh, you know what? I'm so silly. I did the wrong year. Let's start at the proper year, shall we? Because I was wondering where Venus went. Anyway, Venus is behind the sun in this example. So we'll watch this. There she comes. She's coming around, approaching us. This is evening star Venus. Let's keep going. And we're pretty much contemporary now. So as we watch her come in front of the sun, that's the peak of the cycle. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense for you, actually, to see it in motion. It's really quite stunning. And there she goes back around again. This is the same thing we just watched in the solar system. So I sincerely hope that this helps you see these cycles and how powerfully beautiful they are and how impactful they can be to the energy that we have and that we experience while we're here on Earth. Let's watch one more awesome video, okay? This one is by far my favorite because it shows you how mathematically precise and how incredibly beautiful the pattern of this planet is. From this perspective, we're taking a heliocentric approach where the Earth is in the middle, the sun will be moving around the Earth, and Venus will be moving around the sun. This could be how it actually is. I don't know. That's how it looks from, standing on Earth. But we also saw the solar system view. So here's a mathematical model of precisely what you just watched. But we're going to watch actually 5 complete cycles. Okay? So let's do this. So this is a retrograde star point right here. This is a superior conjunction. She swings around and does another inferior conjunction, swinging back around. The difference between these two loops and between these two superior conjunctions is 20 months or 584 days. Half of Venus's cycle is approximately the length of a human gestation. I mean, this is literally showing us in real time, actually sped up time, the pattern that underlies our cosmos, that underlies how energy literally becomes matter. And so I hope you can appreciate what Venus has just drawn in the sky for you. This is the 5-pointed star. This is the pentacle that we draw as kids. I don't know if you noticed how many times the sun went around. It went around 8 times. Okay, so we have a 5 here. We have an 8 here. And then did you all notice how many times Venus went around the sun? She went around 13 times. Okay, so in 8 Earth years, in 13 Venus orbits, we drew a 5-pointed star. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55, 89, 144. These are the Fibonacci numbers in the Fibonacci sequence. And they're encoded right here in the sky, right in front of our face, and we're watching it. It's really slow, but if you can pay attention to these cycles and understand what you're looking at, it's quite stunning. Okay. Hopefully everybody feels good about that. You can't see Venus right now. Venus is obscured by the sun because she is approaching the inferior conjunction. But within a week or two after the inferior conjunction, probably after the solar eclipse, you will be able to see her as the morning star if you get up before the sunrise. So let's do this. Oh, here it is. I feel kind of sad and happy that we're here because we've been building up to it. And here we are. And once again, we've got the white serpents. And I think in doing the intro here for this particular video, I've also been able to connect where these white dragons, these white serpents, these white nagas come from. And we'll be connecting some things a little bit later on in the presentation. So there she is walking through the portal of the retrograde as well as the eclipse, reborn as a morning star. I'd like to bring to your attention this timeline that we've been working on. For those of you newer to my channel, there is a playlist where we started this at the very beginning, and we've been looking at this particular graphic pretty much the whole year since the year started. I'm just going to break it down. So sorry for those of you that have seen this before, but I want everybody to understand what we're looking at. So the star point is 322. We are literally here. We're 3 days away. Okay. We did Mercury on Friday, and we talked about Mercury's retrograde because that's when Mercury stationed retrograde. Mercury's inferior conjunction is 2 days after the Venus star point. So literally, like within 2 days of each other, we've got this powerful peak of both the Mercury energy and the Venus energy. And then 5 days after that, you have your solar eclipse at 19 degrees of Pisces. These orange lines that you see are when the moon was crossing over that 19 degrees of Pisces. So as you get closer and closer to the eclipse, that moment where the moon hits the 19 degrees of Pisces becomes a full moon, or a new moon. I'm sorry, a new moon. So before it was almost a new moon, here it wasn't a new moon, and here it was a quarter moon. So as we phase into the eclipse, these are ripples in space-time. This is where you can get a flavor of how this eclipse might be affecting you. So the last one we did was 21 days from Venus's star point. The day she went retrograde was the last eclipse point that we had. We'll have a post-eclipse point on 425. So any energy that you feel through the eclipse, you may feel it again on April 25th. So these numbers are the Fibonacci numbers, if you didn't notice that already. We're counting down in this Fibonacci sequence to the moment of Venus's star point. All right. And we went through all these green inflection points in Mercury's cycle on Friday. So check out that video if you want to get a really deep dive into Mercury retrograde. And today we're going to review all of these points. We've gone through them before, but I need you to see them again because this is where it's at. All right. I'm going to take out Mercury because we don't need it for this analysis. And I'm just going to leave this right here for now. And then what I want to do is dive into like who Venus is and get into the topics of the presentation. So the first one will be who is Venus? Then we're going to do some numerology review so that you understand why I laugh and smile and my jaw hits the floor when I decode these presentations, because I think it will have the same effect for you when you see where I'm getting the 33s and the 13s. Then we're going to just briefly run through the Venus cycle. And while we do that, we're going to decode March 22nd, and then we'll finish the cycle and check out the Venus magic square. So let's get into this. So the first thing I love to think about is Venus as the billionaire planet, right? I mean, this is an energy that is so wonderful and so benefic and so abundant in your life that it requires no effort. Once it's allowed, once it's received, it's effortless manifestation. So that's why we call her the billionaire planet. And interestingly enough, that spelled out in our Phi cipher is 79. 79 is the 22nd prime. And isn't that interesting? Because it's March 22nd that we're looking at. That's the Venus star point. So this said to me, yeah, you're on the right track. Keep going. Okay. So Venus is the billionaire planet in your chart. So where is your billionaire? Where does she live? She's also the path to immortality. There's an excellent essay on worldteachertrust.org done by a gentleman named Parvathy Kumar, who wrote about Venus being the path to immortality, sort of the higher octave of desire and acquisition. And she does that through our creative legacy. So whatever it is that you build and create here in this plane while you're here is Venusian. It is through Venus's energy. So that could be children, because that's part of your creative legacy. It could be something that you build and leave behind. It just depends. What is it that you're going to be remembered for? Path to immortality is 89, which coincidentally or not is a Fibonacci number. Okay, so that's amazing. Venus retrograde is 55. So yet we have another Fibonacci number. Again, just confirmation, like a God wink, like, yeah, this is it. Retrograde is 35 and creative legacy is 35. Venus is the cosmic womb. That's right. If you have been following my work, you know that I feel like Venus needs to be the ruler of Virgo, energetically anyway, because Mercury doesn't do a good job with the initiatory processes that the divine feminine has to go through. Everything from your first menses to your first intercourse, to your first orgasm, to your first pregnancy and birth, to your menopause. These are all initiatory energies in the divine feminine that require physical sacrifice. Okay, so this energy is the cosmic womb. This is literally like, for me, Virgo as the birthing mother sky goddess. The cosmic womb is 65, and that's the 29th decimal digit of Phi. So what? Well, birth is 29. Spirit into matter is 79, which is what we're doing. So think of like, Pluto and Scorpio and Ophiuchus is sort of like the transition of death energy and transformation. Venus is the transformation energy of birth. It is literally pulling spirit energy, etheric energy into physical matter. And remember, 79 is the 22nd prime. Billionaire planet is 79. And we're talking about the 22nd day of March. Wow. Venus is also the high priestess of desire. Not desire the way Mars desires, the way Mars wants to conquer, to fight or fornicate. No, this is a higher octave of desire. This is knowing that spirit wants you to create by feeling it in your body. So when you can feel the creative arousal in your body, this is how you create. This is how you become a co-creator with the universe. This is why the white nagas, the white serpents, and the white dragons have been presenting themselves to me. Because typically when you think of the serpent energy, you think of that sort of baser Kundalini, Scorpio kind of stuff. But this is more of a pure magic. Okay. So I like this. I like Venus as the high priestess of desire. I don't talk about this a lot publicly, but there it is. That's one of the attributes of this energy. The high priestess of desire is 111. That's pretty freaking magical. That reduces to a 3, which is always trying to expand. Venus star point in Pisces is 111. Okay? So again, another coincidence, another God wink. Yes, this is what's happening. This is what Venus is about. Now, this is the white Nagas. White Nagas is 45. This is the dragon. What is the Nagas? The Nagas are half deity and half human, and they're in the pantheon of Hindu religion. And there's all kinds of different Nagas, just like there are in the Roman and the Greek pantheon. And there's all kinds of different angels in our Catholic pantheon. But let me just show you a little bit of numerology, and then I'll share with you which Naga I think this is. So 45 is the atomic mass of scandium, which is 21. So 45 and 45, tie it to this. And look at this picture. I didn't make this up. This came from the Royal Chemistry Society, or the Royal Society of Chemistry. That, you guys, is a Nagas. These serpents coming out of his head here. Nagas is 21. Wow. I mean, I'm just, okay. Now, there is a Nagas called Ananta Shesha, and Ananta is 21. The number 45 is at the 21st decimal digit of the phi string after the decimal. I mean, amazing, amazing. This just goes to show you. So here's a little Wikipedia on Ananta Shesha. And basically this is the Naga of all Nagas, you know, the one that Vishnu actually rested upon. Him and Lakshmi would sit there together, and anyway, you can read it, but I just think it's so interesting that this particular one is depicted as white, and the names are so tied in. Shesha is actually 35 in the Phi cipher, and I'll show you that later. Shesha and Ananta are typically called the infinite one, okay? The infinite one, which is 73. 73 is the 21st prime. I mean, what? So, yeah, this is all so amazing. And to finally make this connection to these visions and dreams that I've been getting, I don't think I would have made this connection unless I had the numerology. And so I am just so thrilled to share this with you and to let you see what I've been seeing over the past couple of months as we get to the peak of this cycle. And then the last energy of Venus is the keeper of the codes of creation. So you saw her orbit, you see the Fibonacci sequence, you see Phi coming through. This is all related. This is that crystalline grid that Venus is part of. That Venus, once you have access to this energy and it's flowing unblocked, you ground your energy in that crystalline grid, which is the earth, and then you manifest. So she's a keeper of the codes of creation. And the codes of creation is 71. And I'm smiling right now. I can't stop smiling because this is so fun for me right now. Is the 7 of Pentacles in the tarot deck. Do you see those little stars right there? Hopefully you guys see these right here. That's the star that Venus traces in the sky. Right here, this star. With angles of 72, 108. These are sacred numbers. You see them in the pyramid. You see it in the Mayan calendar. And then this other angle up here is 36. This star right here, if you take this length, this red length, and you divide or put it against this green length, you're going to get a ratio of 1.618. You can't make this stuff up, you guys. This is all connected. This is her code. Creation is 33, and the 7 of Pentacles is associated with the 7 of Diamonds, which is the 33rd card in the cards of illumination. It's the 33rd slide too. I didn't even realize that. I added some slides earlier just to make that first part of it. But anyway, 33rd slide, amazing, amazing. I love that you guys are with me on this because I'm just smiling. Rebirth is 33. Mother is 33. And mother is matter, Mater. That's mother. 13 is 33. And we have 13 constellations. My birthday is 33. Oh my gosh, this is so amazing. So, yeah, this is Venus energy. This is what we're working with. This is what we are at the peak of. Oh, and Pi and Phi are 33. If you guys want, we can just stop the presentation now. If I've convinced you. If not, I can keep going. This number 137 is called the fine structure constant. And it's similar to pi and phi in that it's a irrational number that we keep finding at the Planck length. It's the wiggle between the smaller energies of momentum and velocity of the subatomic particles. So, but if you just take the number 137, it is the 33rd prime. So we have this coding, we have just a little shimmer for that creativity that really comes through. Dragon is 33. Stop it. White dragon is 57. And then, of course, we have lanthanum, which has the atomic mass of 138. And that is also related to the fine structure constant and the phoenix orbital periodicity, as outlined by Jason of Archaics. So, yeah, it's all over the place, these 33s. I hope you see it too. All right, let's get into some serious discussions here. So, some of you will have a little R and an X next to your Venus. And that means you were born with a Venus retrograde. We have 18% of people born with a Mercury retrograde, but it's even rarer if you have a Venus retrograde. I see you guys every so often. And every single one of these bullet points is 100% true. So, number one, you all are intensely creative. You are master manifestors, meaning you just have a thought and you latch onto that thought, you create it. You don't have an emotional attachment because it's the joy of creation. As long as you're creating something under the auspices of being divinely inspired, you'll create whatever you want. Not only that, but you're also extremely magnetic. So you just be you, and everything you want will come to you. You will attract it right into your field. And you're also intelligent. Like, I'm talking beyond Mercury intelligent. You're like genius level intelligent when you've got a retrograde Venus. So you guys, because of your rarity, you're so special. And I think if you're going to do astrology, why don't you just take a peek at your constellational chart? Just check, see where your Venus is. Because I guarantee you, whatever's there, wherever it is, it's going to 100% resonate with you when you bring in the energy of the archetype of the constellation. Now, a lot of times retrograde Venuses have troubles with relationships. We all have troubles with relationships when we first start out, okay? The reason is because y'all do not know how powerful you are. You do not realize that you are special, that you are intelligent, that you are magnetic, that you can get whatever you want, that you're intensely creative, because you have to do that through another. You have to. First, you do it through your parents who notice how special you are, and then you do it through a relationship with someone else. And what you realize when you're on your own and your parents aren't telling you what to do, you'll actually become very independent very early as well. So you'll pretty much have your stuff together like before your parents even realize that. You'll be dying to break out of the house, but then those relationships that you have with others, you might bump into people a little bit until you realize how powerful you are and that there's great responsibility with that power. Okay. All right. Let's look at the numbers that we've been looking at, because I know I just threw a whole bunch of 33s and 13s and 137s and 138s at you. Let's just see where some of that comes from, because I think this is kind of where the numerology that I do with astrology, I think that's where it really stems from, because it shows us the coding of the cosmos. Here's that Fibonacci number, the Fibonacci sequence that I've been sharing with you. So here you can see the numbers laid out and also how they're calculated. So you take the one digit, the next digit, you add them together, and that's the digit after that. So 0 plus 1 is 1, 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 2 plus 3 is 5, 5 plus 8 is 13, okay? 13 is where when you divide the smaller number into the bigger number, you get this golden ratio. And the larger the sequence gets as you approach infinity, the more and more complex and irrational this number becomes. So that's where this phi cipher comes from. Ha, slide 45, White Nagas. And what this does is this creates a spiral pattern. So this is what we see in nature everywhere. You know, if you look at at galaxies, if you look at hurricanes, if you look at the way embryos develop, the coil of an octopus's tentacle, the development of a shell, the way plants grow. I mean, it's everywhere. These are all in the golden mean phi ratio. And this is just words. So those of you that don't get the beautiful cycles unfolding before you, if those of you don't get geometry, you can read about how this number is created. And it's basically take two different lengths, the ratio of which will be 1.618. And those are that's the golden rectangle. So very powerful stuff. And here we are back to our timeline. And I'm going to take out Mercury again because we don't need to look at that. And I want to really connect for you why we're counting down with the Fibonacci sequence if that wasn't already obvious to you, because of this spiral that it creates. And it goes along the similar lines of how we described these eclipse points at the beginning of the presentation. These are energetic ripples, standing waves in space-time, in shadow time, that have energy available similar to the actual planetary transit. So my theory is that there's this similar energy here with Venus, except that her standing wave is more of a spiral rather than concentric circles like the moon. So hers will go more like this. Okay? So as we count down with the Fibonacci numbers, we can actually add spirals to this timeline and get a visualization of what that might look like in third or fourth dimensional space. So let's add one. Kind of interesting, right? I've actually proportioned that spiral. This is a Fibonacci spiral, and it kind of bumps up really nicely with some of these dates. And I have the middle portion of it directly aligned with the Venus star point. So that's one direction of the spiral. We can put it in two directions. We can also put it in three directions and four directions. Look at this amazing geometry that we're creating. This is beautiful. This is the third eye. This is the third eye chakra, the Anja chakra. This is how you connect with the Akashic record. This is how you connect with source. This is how you see things from a higher perspective. This is how you can see and perceive fourth dimensional energies. So there it is. There's the Anja chakra. That's a symbol for it anyway. And to me, that looks very similar. It also looks like a Vesica Pisces, right? The energy of Pisces. That's what we're in right now, the Vesica Pisces, right? So hopefully that sticks in your mind as well, how powerful, how beautiful, how geometrical, how mathematical this code, this energy is of Venus, and what a beautiful gift it is. Here's pi. Pi is also an irrational number, similar to phi. It is a ratio as well that is taken by dividing the circumference of a circle by its diameter. It's a super interesting number. The most closest ratio we can get to 6 decimal digits of this number is 355 over 113. I kind of nerded out on a math video while I was on call, and I watched a guy derive this number with a very simple equation, and a Chinese mathematician had done this, I think in the 6th century or 13th century BC, and it's super interesting, but it gets us all the way to here, which is pretty good, because we haven't been able to better it until we've gotten computers to calculate out to millions of digits now. And then, of course, the fine structure constant. This is the wobble. This is something that's between things at the Planck length. I think it describes ether. And because of the economies of scale, we literally see this express itself, not only at that Planck length, but also at the atomic length. We also see it in our physical structures here on Earth. We see it in calendrics. We see it in timing, and we see it in planets. Jason of Archaics has an excellent analysis of the calendrics of this number. When you look back in our in chronology, he sees that 138 pattern in chronological events that happen throughout time, and we see it also in astrology too. If you take the fine structure constant, if you take pi and phi, and you work with the orbital frequencies of these planets, 137 and 138 show up a lot. So because of these scales of manifestation, it reminds us that we're in this holographic fractalized universe. 317 is the 137th decimal digit of pi. I just thought that was really cute, really interesting how the numbers rearrange themselves, keeping us in the same space here to express that pi is related to the fine structure constant in this way. And then that 138 is the 381st decimal digit of pi. Okay, so once again, we're being shown, we're being given a thumbs up from source, from spirit, from the universe, that we're tapping into something really profound here. And again, the number 137 is the 33rd prime, and pi and phi are 33. Just to remind you, the fine structure constant is 79. So what else is 79? The 13th decimal digit of pi is 79. Okay, so there you have your 13 and your 33 connected to pi and phi and the fine structure constant. We have more. 13 is 33. Okay, so here it is all tied together. That's the numerology. This is the foundation for most of my decodes because I can always tie it back into these energies. And when I try not to, and I literally, like if I'm just going to use Chaldean or I'm going to use this other cipher. No, I'm always drawn back to this. I'm always drawn back to these numbers. So this is really amazing. 13 is also a Fibonacci sequence number. So let's get into the Venus cycle. Remember that Mercury retrograde graph I drew for you last time? You're not going to have that this time, but you can see here where Venus is in Pisces. We start it right here at the beginning of this blue box and we go all the way to here. So this January 21st to June 8th, 5 months in one constellation. That's a lot of Pisces energy. So if you guys are feeling like your creative muse is underwater and swimming and just kind of going with the flow, even though you feel like you need to be doing something, it's fine. It's totally fine. That's the energy we're swimming in right now. We're up to our eyeballs in it, especially with Venus being retrograde and really at the peak of her cycle in just a few days, which will be right here. This is where we are, and this is where the peak is. So this retrograde phase is this red box here. And the phase where she's speeding up towards us is right here, and she's speeding away from us here. So that orbital motion that you saw with the solar system, that's the effect of it here. You get a racing towards the planet Earth, you get a retrograde motion, racing away, and then finally leaving Pisces. That's a long time to be in Pisces. And here's where we are. We've gone through this timeline before. But here we are. This is the death and the rebirth. But again, I want to focus not on the death part of it, because even though death is ecstatic for Venus, I often think of like Venus and Ophiuchus when I think of the death energy that we have to deal with. When a human dies, the Venus energy inside of them gets to feel the last ecstatic moment that they will as a physical incarnation through the sensation of death. That's how Venus attains enlightenment, through physical sensation. That's where her wisdom comes from. And death is the last lesson. So death is very profound for Venus energy too, but for our purposes in Pisces, this is like a rebirth, birth energy. And we are here. This is the intensityogram. So we were looking at that timeline, and the red portion is right here in this space. So this is intensity, and this is distance to Earth. And we are here. We are at the top of the wave. Think of like a roller coaster, you know, and you're at the beginning phase of it. You're sort of inching up on your little car, just like that. And then you reach the top, and you just ever so slowly go over the edge. And then all of a sudden it releases. That's what you're going to feel. That's what birth is like. Okay, there's a buildup to it. There's a growth. There's an acceleration towards the end. There's contractions. There's pushing, and then there's an explosion of a baby. So this is the beginning of the cycle. This is what it looked like here. I won't belabor this since we looked at this in movement, but here's a snapshot of it. This is what it looked like in the sky in the constellation of Taurus. And here it is on a chart. So this brings me to the very important point, is that if you're like, okay, Dr. Danny, I'm in. I want Venus energy. Tell me how I can access it. I want effortless manifestation. I want joy. I want synchronicities. I want numbers to pop up in my life. How do I tap into this? Start working with these cycles. It's not too late. If you think back to June, if those of you who were with me back in June, when I did this particular video, when we had the beginning of the Venus cycle, I said, this is where you're going to set your intentions for your creative cycles. This is where I said, I'm going to build a mega course that is a foundation for constellational astrology. That's what I said. That was my wish. That was my intention beginning at this moment in time. And I did a whole ritual. I visualized it. I sat with it. I enjoyed what I was creating in my mind. And then I let it go, and I just kept working. And then Spirit said, it's time to do it. And it just so happened to work out that all of this energy is culminating while we are studying Pisces week. I promise you I didn't plan it that way. It just literally worked out that way because I'm working with this Venus cycle. So where were you on June 4th? What were you doing? What were you thinking about? What were you imagining? What were you fantasizing about? It's probably coming to pass. You can also look what house it was in for you. So this is me, first house. This is like a rebirth of myself, a new conception of myself. And I think that literally has happened over the last several months. Just the process of becoming an educator in this space, using this kind of technology and creating some really beautiful coursework and graphics and writings and all kinds of other projects that are coming. So that's what I did. Then, of course, we have the maximum eastern elongation, which is an inflection point. It begins that rapid movement towards us. And that's what that looks like. That's when Venus was in the heart of Aquarius. There she was in the sky. And then, of course, station retrograde, which we just did on March 1st. We talked about this. And it's a 42-day retrograde, which is the ultimate answer for all questions, 42. And incidentally, 21 days before the star point, which is a Fibonacci number, which is Nagas, and 21 days after the star point is the entire length of the retrograde period, 42 days. So here's station retrograde. Here it is in the chart. You can see that at 21 degrees. Isn't that interesting? Nagas, Scandium, Phi, all 21. Half of 42. Now we're going to break out of the Venus cycle and go back to it just to finish it out. But I wanted to touch on and really dive into March 22nd, which is the peak of Venus's retrograde cycle and her entire cycle. This is where she's reborn. She becomes the morning star. Here's what it looks like from space. Here's what it looks like in the sky. And here's what it looks like in the chart. Now, right off the bat, I hope you see this. I hope you see this stunning synchronicity that Venus and Sun are both at 13 degrees. What? It's like the sky, the astrology, the code is speaking to us about this very moment if we have the eyes to see and we look in at it. Okay. How are you guys doing with this so far?
Pretty good, I hope. I see some BAMs in there. That's awesome. Brain candy. Yep. Cool. All right, let's get into the basics of decoding. So this day is March 22nd, 2025. That is 70. And 70 is a special number because it's the 64th decimal digit of phi. Any number in the phi string is special. But this one in particular spells out morning star. If you put morning star in the phi cipher, you get the number 64. Just so happens to be on the day she's becoming a morning star. Coincidence? I don't think so. I think this is just a beautiful synchronicity that we are allowed to see through the tools of numerology. This day has a card associated with it, a birthday card, but we can use it for its number. So March 22nd is the Ace of Diamonds. That's the 27th card in the Cards of Illumination deck. Aluminum, atomic mass is 27, and it's the 13th element. Once again, back to 13. I can't even stop. It just keeps going. It's amazing. So here we have alchemy, chemistry, tying into the astrology, tying into the card, tying into the date of this magnificent moment in time. The Ace of Diamonds is also the Ace of Pentacles. There's our star again. I don't think I have to show you that again, but 65, that's the cosmic womb. And that's where we're at. We're right in the middle of it, being reborn as the morning star. You can also take this card and see what planetary line it lies in the life configuration. And we have Jupiter and Neptune. This gives us a clue that we're looking at some very heavily spiritual information. Expanded spiritual mystical energy is what is, and I've been feeling it's because it's Pisces. Like there's so much that's possible here in Pisces. It's a very creative space. It's where your creative muse can really, really come alive. And I love that Venus and Mercury are really close to Neptune right now because you have Neptune, Saturn, North Node, Sun, Mercury, and Venus all together. And now we get a little flavor of Jupiter in that, expanding it. You can take this card over to the spirit configuration and see the Two of Diamonds. The Two of Diamonds is the 28th card in the deck. Watch this. 28 is the 33rd decimal digit of pi. Oh my goodness. I'm not even surprised anymore. I'm still smiling though. Watch this. 27 is the 28th digit of pi. Almost like a cosmic joke, like a ha-ha. Now, the Two of Diamonds is also the Two of Pentacles. This is such an amazing card to come up. Do you see this? Do you see these two pentacles being balanced in this moving energy of the 8, which is a Fibonacci number, changing from one form to the next during each of these cycles? So she spends part of it as an evening star, part of it as a morning star, part of it as an evening star. I mean, this is just amazing, just that this picture would actually resonate with, the reading that we're doing. 66 is important too. 66, when you spell Venus star point in the phi cipher. I mean, all right. This is fantastic. So, ooh, Seema Dragon's here. Hello. Thanks for coming. I'm just blowing everybody's mind. So you can always watch the beginning if you got here late. Yeah, so Venus star point 66, the Two of Pentacles 66, it's all just amazing. And 66 is 317. Remember what I showed you at the very beginning of this presentation? Oh my gosh, I can't even stop. There's still more to go. We still have this magic square, so here we go. All right, now you can pick whatever day of the year it is too. You have to, take into account whether it's a leap year or a common year. And so for our particular study, March 22nd is the 81st day of the year. Well, 81 is the 33rd digit in Phi. We've seen that a couple times already. So, okay, that was easy. The 2 of diamonds is 28. And 28 is the 33rd decimal of pi. So now we have pi and phi and Venus star point and the number 81 for the day of the year. Okay. I just don't even know if it can get any better, honestly. This is probably one of my most favorite decodes that I've done so far. So this is the energy, right? We've gone through the superior conjunction over here when Venus was on the other side of the sun, to the maximum eastern elongation and the retrograde energy, to now we are birthing. This is the moment. Congratulations. We have a new creation. We have something that will be our creative legacy, something that we're remembered for. It could be a baby. But if pregnancy kind of, doesn't really resonate with you, it does with me because I deliver babies. I do this for a living. And so this is just so literally synchronous for my life and my numbers. But again, I can bring you back to this dandelion cycle if you want. This is the superior conjunction, and this is the inferior conjunction. And you have growth, you have bloom, and then you have the birth. These little seeds, they disperse everywhere to plant new dandelions, which is the creative legacy of the original plant, of this original seed. And that's how you expand, and that's how you create matter through this cycle. Rebirth is 33. Can I just get a bam? All right. Let's go back to this Venus cycle. Just finish it out. Get us to January of 2026. And then we will look at the Venus magic square. This is slide number 111, even though you can't see it. So on April 11th, Venus will station direct. So she'll start moving away from us very quickly from March 22nd to April 11th, and then start taking a turn around towards the backside of the sun. So that's what happens when she stations direct. Here's what it looks like in the sky, or from space. And here's what it looks like in the sky. So now you'll see Venus, the morning star. And you guys, if you want to get up before dawn and see something amazing, just try it for a couple of days, maybe around the 11th of April. Get up before dawn. You will see Venus. You will see Saturn. And if you have a clear morning, you will also see Mercury, because that maximum western elongation of Mercury is much longer than its maximum eastern elongation. And so is Venus's. And what you're going to watch, if you do it over subsequent mornings, is Venus will get higher and higher and higher at the same time every morning. And it will happen on a daily basis. She'll move very, very quickly. It's really stunning to watch. Here's what it looks like in the chart when she stations direct. She'll be at 5 degrees of Pisces, and she's already been here. So she basically went from 5 degrees to 21 degrees of Pisces. Oh, and look, the sun's at 33 degrees. Conjunct Chiron. The wounded healer. So that's spirit reminding me to tell you about that Chiron class again. Make sure that you click the links in the description to join us for that class. Stunning. That's amazing. I love it when the presentation actually pops up with fun synchronicities. So yeah, she went from 5 degrees of Pisces to 21 degrees of Pisces, back to 5 degrees of Pisces. And then on April 11th, we'll go back over it the third time. So Venus is dancing all over our business as well. So whatever you have here in Pisces is a big deal. This is a hot spot for you. I don't have anything. I have a Chiron return. But it all does sit in my 10th house. So it's very interesting. So if you've got between 5 and 21 degrees of Pisces, really important planets for you. If you have Venus there, if you have Venus retrograde there, holy smokes, please raise your hand. I want to meet you. So let's move on and finish this cycle. The maximum western elongation that will occur on May 31st. And then Venus will take her long trip around to the backside of the sun. You will really see Venus well in the morning at the end of May. This is going to be really, really beautiful. Here's what it looks like in the chart. So she'll be conjunct Chiron. And so for me, that maximum western elongation, I'll have the strongest morning star conjunct Chiron, which is also conjunct my natal Chiron in the 11th house. So that's how I would read that for me personally. And you guys can do this too. And then finally, another superior conjunction with the sun, where Venus is all the way on the other side. This is where we begin a new cycle. We plant new seeds of intention for creativity, for our creative legacy. And that will be on January 6th of 2026. See her? She's way, way over there, teaming up with Mercury again. So that'll be an interesting time too, the beginning of next year. I promise you I'll never run out of content, because these heavens, they're always moving, they're always changing, they're always showing us something different and something special about the sky. And look at this one. This is something amazing to look forward to. You're going to have Venus and Mars conjunct the sun. Also conjunct Star Vega. So that'll be an interesting read as well for when this new cycle starts. It may have to do with relationships or even psychology or meeting new people. That's my 8th house. So we'll have to see how that works out for me. All right. So the baby's born, evening star to morning star. ChatGPT created these beautiful images for me. I said, give me Aphrodite and give me Diana the Huntress, because that's the different energy we're dealing with. Venus, the evening star, is so much more sensual and receiving, receptive. Doesn't really have to, kind of strive or root for anything that she desires. It comes to her. Whereas the morning star is more willing to go for it, more willing to take action, more willing to hunt. And I think it's super interesting that if you put both of these words into the Phi cipher, they're a mirror image of one another. How does this happen? This is so incredible. This is, the morning star Venus and then the evening star Venus. We get another Vesica Pisces. So hopefully you all can see how this is beauty in motion, beauty in action. This is such a beautiful, wonderful planet to study and to synchronize your energy with, because I promise you, you can't change the way Venus is going to move through the sky. You can't do it. But you can change how you work with those vibrations, because just like we talked about frequency in the last talk on Friday, how you resonate. Are you receiving this information? Are you taking inspired action towards your dreams and your desires? That's what this is all about. And I promise you, when you tap into this, your Mars will be much more motivated to do what needs to be done in order to accomplish your goals. They work very closely together. So I just got an intuitive hit about how that next Venus cycle is going to go for us. All right, let's get into this. The Venus magic square. So we've seen the moon magic square, which I think was 8 by 8. Then we did the Mercury magic square, which was 7 by 7. Oh no, Venus is 7 by 7. I can't remember. One was 9 by 9, one was 8 by 8. And Venus is 7 by 7. So we're going to look at this square. We're going to look at this numerology. The magic square actually comes from Henrik Cornelius Agrippa in his work, The 3 Books of the Occult Philosophy. And you'll be able to get these for all the planets. Every planet has one of these. And so what's so interesting about these numbers, about in this particular square and in the order in which you see them, is that the sum of the rows and the columns equal 175 in all the columns and in all the rows. So in other words, if you were to take the second row and add all these numbers up, you can get 175. You can pause the video and check it. Okay. So not all combinations of these numbers will do that. Each number is unique. The numbers are 1 through 49. 1 through 49. So each digit is represented. You won't see a single digit twice. If you add all of the digits together, you get the number 1225. All right, here's where it gets fun. So watch this. So 175 reduces to 13. That's one of our Fibonacci numbers. So that's a kind of a God wink for me. Yep. Okay, here we go. But did you know that if you multiply 35 by 35, you get 1225? And I didn't show you this earlier because I just wanted your jaws to hit the floor one last time before we draw the sigil. So Shesha is 35. That white dragon. Ananta Shesha. And remember, Ananta was 21. So again, another God wink, another nod from the universe that yes, this is the way that we discover the code. This is the way that we make those really special connections with the energy and the frequency of this planet. Now I switched to Chaldean numerology because we are working with an ancient cipher. Chaldean is one of the oldest numerology ciphers. And I didn't even realize this, but Venus magic square in Chaldean numerology is 55, which is a Fibonacci number. So once again, yes, a nod to the universe. Now, the next thing that you want to do with this magic square is reduce each of these numbers by basic numerological reduction. So you would add 2 and 2 together, that would give you 4. You would take 4 and 7, you get 11, and then you could reduce that to 2. 16 is 7. 41 is 5. 10 is 1. This is 8. Okay. So that's what we've done in this following grid. We have the reduced digits of the Venus magic square. And now we just have to come up with an intention. Okay. So for me, you guys can pick whatever you want based on all the energy I read you. You could use the word billionaire. You could use the word creative. You could use the word money, whatever you want. Abundance. That's fine. It's all whatever you want to do. I went ahead and chose the word manifestation. That number is 49 in Chaldean numerology, which reduces to 13, by the way. The next step in creating a sigil, now what we're trying to do is separate ourselves from the word and the meaning so that our thinking brain does not work at this. We do not want to be focused above our limbic system on any of the words and what they mean, or on any of the numbers and what they mean. So you take out all the vowels. So once we have our word, you take out all the vowels. Did anyone also notice that we're at slide 137? I did. So yeah, manifestation reduces to 13. Let's take out the vowels and see what that looks like. Yep. I laughed when I saw that. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you serious? And it's slide number 138 on top of that. It's just too cool to not notice this. So that's manifestation without the vowels. So now we have just the essence of these consonants, and we take the number associated with them in the Chaldean cipher, and we plot out dots to give us a picture. So I've taken the 4 for M, and I've put it in the first 4 that I could see. And then I just follow along. I take the next 5 that I see, and I put that right there. And then I take the next 8, and I put that right there. The 3, the 4, the next 4, and then the 5. And now we have a sigil. So we actually have a pattern that we can trace and put lines on and create something that, reminds us of our intention, but at the same time distracts us from the analytical portion of the intention. So manifestation, or hopes and desires to bear, was my intention, and the reduced numbers gave us this image. And I went ahead and I drew that. I don't know, it just kind of came to me to draw it like that. And hopefully you guys are seeing this energy. It looks to me like an octopus or a squid or a cephalopod. So I was really excited to see that because, this is Pisces energy when you think of aquatic bodies moving through the water. So I have this really sort of almost an artistic representation of an invertebrate that dwells in the deep of the ocean to sort of carry me along through this energy of Pisces as we move through the Pisces Venus star point. All right, my friends, that is the end of this presentation. Thank you so much. By the way, octopus is 33. So, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. I'm so glad you guys were here to enjoy that with me. I'm going to just check in on y'all, see how y'all are feeling. How was that? Pretty good for someone who didn't sleep. Getting that done. Do you guys have any questions? Did I go over anything too fast? Let's see. Some of you guys have interesting Venus placements. I saw some scroll by. So So Sprout Queen has Venus at 5D Pisces conjunct natal Saturn. Yeah, a Venus conjunct Saturn is actually what I have. That's my tattoo, Venus and Saturn together. So you are a teacher of this gnosis. First a student and then a teacher. You may have also had times in your life where you attached yourself to older partners. Um, I know that, my husband is significantly old. He's, well, not that much older, but he's older than me. And every person that I've had a relationship with has also been older than me. So I find that very interesting when I found that out. Cool. All right, let's see who else. What other Venus placements are out there? Good point. Christine 79 is element gold. Perfect. Yeah, I should have pulled that into the billionaire planet slide. Sugar and Spice has Venus 8 degrees in Sagittarius. Awesome. Lori has a Leo Venus in the 11th house. No Pisces Venus is here. Sonia has Jupiter in Pisces. That's cool. So you are, oh my goodness, and a retrograde Jupiter. Okay. So an internal spiritual expansion through creativity, downloads from spirit. A lot of people from Washington. I'm just going backwards. Cool. Exciting stuff. Oh, was it Leonardo DiCaprio? Thanks, Ultimus. I don't know why I thought Tom Cruise. Well, now I'll have to redo my meditation video because I think I said I think I said Tom Cruise. Well, that's okay. Aries in the 5th house, 1 degree. Oh, wow. So that's like Pisces, Aries cusp for you, Beth, in the 5th house. That's a playful, loving Venus. Oh, Lorna, Venus Sagittarius. Yes, Venus Sagittarius, you guys are very interesting. You either end up with, my husband's a Sagittarius Venus too. You either end up as celibate monks dedicated to your creation, you are a serial monogamist, or you have a partner that blows your mind daily. That's how Venus Sages stay attached. by literally being mind blown by who they're with. Or just giving up altogether because they're tired of leaving a trail of broken hearts. So, yeah, love has a Venus conjunct the sun. Does your Venus is your Venus direct or retrograde? That'd be interesting. So it looks like, yeah, love, you have Sun, Venus, and Mercury in Sag. Yeah, if you have a retrograde Venus, then you are one of the special people on that retrograde slide. You're a genius, you're creative, you're amazing, you're very powerful, magnetic, especially with a Venus in Sag. Wow. Aquarius Venuses. Oh, there's Teresa with her Venus in Pisces. Okay. Is your Venus retrograde? If you have a direct Venus in Pisces, you're getting retrograde energy over top of that. But you live with Venus in Pisces, so this should feel amazing for you. At least I hope it does. And 9th and 10th house is going to be like your wisdom spilling over into your creative work and into your reputation. Norma says thumbs up. Awesome, guys. Cool, y'all. Well, thank you so much for coming. I've enjoyed it. I will be going live when I get back into town on my channel, but I will be live on Sunday on Mastering the Zodiac. So make sure you guys check him out on Sunday. Let's bring the Dr. Danny community into the Mastering the Zodiac community and mix energies. I think it'll be really, really good. All right, you guys, I'm going to go have some dinner. with my fantastic husband, and then I'm going to go to bed. So I love you all so much. Thank you for coming. I will see you later. Here are the top 10 reasons why you should study astrology.